Hi, this is Steve Aul, the Aul Financial Group. I want to welcome everybody to the hard to believe March 6th edition of the Aul Financial Group Town Hall. We want to thank everybody that's on the call with us live here. I'm going to talk in a minute about a few things, but I will go ahead and start this out at the beginning for the clients. You should be getting the Market Guard update from Brad Jenkins. It will also talk about in that update about a K1 that you could possibly be receiving. That K1 will come to you. It does cause a slight tax reduction on your forms. It also mentions a little later in the video that the one that has the K1 will be replaced by the one that doesn't have a K1. So they did make the trade on that earlier this week. So I just want to say that you could receive, if you only have IRA accounts, traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, you're going to need that to send that K1 to us because of the fact that should go to the custodian. It would not create a taxable event and should not show up on your tax return. But if you have non-qualified accounts, the main count that's going to be in is if you have the op dividend stock fund or possibly just the op growth fund, but most of it was in the dividend side of it. So if you have those things, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the office, but it will need to be reported on your tax return. TurboTax should be able to be opened up and then just say, did you receive a K1? Yes, and then the information would be entered from there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over the next part of the presentation here today to Mel.
Thanks, Steve. I've changed subjects 4 times in the last 30 minutes, because thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. And I jotted some notes down here, and I am going to talk about our services and Market Guard as it relates to my car. One of the cool things, actually, David is the one who came up with this idea. One of the Market Guard target funds has an adjustment system where the advisor, the manager, I should say, of that fund will change the disposition of the equities and the fixed income based on trends in the market. In other words, it's like an adaptive cruise control on your car, where if you set your car running at 60 miles an hour and somebody gets in your way, then the car slows itself down. And when they get out of the way, it takes you back up to the 60-mile-an-hour thing. So we literally have a fund where people have said for years, I wish my guy would have took me out or made changes when the trend got bad and it put me back in, when to buy, when to sell, when to get back in. That's one of the primary functions of the Market Guard system. And if you're using the Target Fund series, it literally has that as one of its primary functions. Now, the other thing about the car is that it has lane controls where I can set it to a certain sensitivity that if I start veering out of my lane, that it will beep or actually try to force me back into the lane. I can turn that off and just drive any which way I want to. Or if I have a plan of action and it's a long-term plan and I want to stay in my lane, well, that guy in the other picture and myself, we're your lane controls. Our job is to try to keep you on track and stay with the plan long term. Now, then it also has a feature that will all kinds of alert systems that, okay, the tire pressure is wrong, or there's a door open. So this is the type of thing that where we send out the newsletters and we send out phone calls to you. The thing that Steve just told you, alert, alert, this K1 thing, you might want to pay attention to that. And here's how it would be of use to you. And then the other thing is spacing. When I put my cruise control on, I can set it how close I'm willing to follow the guy in front of me or how much I want to stay back away from them. It's a pretty smart car for that particular situation. You may have the very same features built into yours. Well, you also have that built into your plan. Following the leader too closely isn't necessarily in your best interest unless they are going to the same place and have the same desires as you do. So each plan, each goal, each lane that we want to stay in should be custom built to your particular issues and needs. And the comfort level of how fast you want to set that cruise control to is, again, how risk adverse are you, or how much are you really wanting to get there that quickly, or we want to be that aggressive, depending on the road sometimes and where we are and what the distance is and what the traffic around us is. All of these things are very much tied to how you build a plan. You pick out where you want to go, you have your map, you have your ideas, and then the car helps you get there, as long as you don't mess around with the controls too much. The other thing I had on here was the steering control. Mine's not, it doesn't drive itself, but I can set it to where, okay, you go ahead and just drive the car for me, stay in the lanes, keep my speed, but I still have to keep my hand on the wheel. It won't let me just let go of it. It will for a few seconds, but pretty soon it says, no, 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 put your hand back on this wheel or I'm turning this thing off. That is the regular reviews. All the time that Steve and I and David and everybody else spend in prepping and looking is, are we on plan? Are we staying where we need to be? It is somewhat automatic, but we still want the constant input from the client. That's why we are constantly, are we on track? Are you planning on a new purchase? Are you wanting to go on a big trip? Do we have a wedding to pay for? Letting us know ahead of time about these things helps make adjustments in the plan to keep us on track. And then I kind of ran out of pieces on that, but it just kind of dawned on me that we're pretty much like a smart car here, and we try to help you be in a nice, safe position and get where you're going. And if you saw the newsletter this week, it kind of ties in with the joke that I gave, had Megan put in there and said, I didn't know how bad a driver I was until my GPS came on and said, pull over in 400 feet and let me out. So even the GPS is a little scared. So we don't want you to be scared. We want you to know that there are a lot of very high-tech issues. We have some fantastic software. We have a lot of people that are dedicated to making sure that the right plan is in place for you, that it's constantly being monitored, is constantly being adjusted, and we're not scaring the GPS. We're making sure that we know where we're going and we know how to get there. And there's some pretty high-end alert systems going on to help protect you. So I just wanted to lay that out there to let you know that there is a goal in mind. There is a system in place to help back you up and make sure your retirement is comfortable in the way you want it to be. That's mine.
All right. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Mel. I mean, as it goes from there. So I appreciate that. I had a couple calls. When we go into this week, and I think the last time I talked about being cautiously optimistic within the markets. We've had a fairly good run up. November, December, January, February, pretty good run up during that time frame. And then we look at it, the last 2 days, we've had kind of a back off from the market. And that's where we're saying that cautiously optimistic sign of it, because we still have some signs that the market could be a little bit ahead of itself. Weaker earnings, the geopolitical, what's going on across the pond with Russia, with Israel. And then we have the stuff that's going on around the election. Elections usually cause volatility, so we want to avoid those emotional decisions when we're sitting there talking about that headwind of being the election. This week, it had been stated they thought they were going to reduce the interest rates 3 times. Then they come along and say that the inflation could be a little hotter than is. We're not sure exactly when they're going to do it, and currently right now, Powell is in front of the House. So he has already talked to the people in the House. And once he came to the point that he says that rate cuts are likely, the market started to recover a little bit this morning. So we're going to have those ups and downs. Remember, tomorrow on Thursday, I won't be able to report on that since it's Wednesday. But we are going to have probably some more volatility again tomorrow, so that we do look at that. So we look at it, is the sell-off a time to get out or away? The best thing that I could say is, let's go with the trends. Let's try to keep the emotions down as much as possible. And that's where we always like it to the point, as we said, we like to do regular reviews. That way we can look at what's going on. Two, we also put it to the point that you don't have to wait for your regular review if you want to call in and talk. If we're booked fairly solid that day, we might not get back with you for a little bit, but we will get back with you on the phone because I believe that's when people need to be talked to the most. There's another thing that those of the clients that have the yield notes, there was a group of those from Morgan Stanley that were bought back. They called them early. And we've got a big list of people that I've got to contact on those. So we are looking at that. The new notes will not be purchased till around the 20th of the month. So I do have time still to get a hold of everybody. I'm still building spreadsheets. I am looking at some of the people. We looked at those yield notes when the quote markets were down. Now that we're back into higher markets, we are probably going to be talking to you about the dual directional notes that basically say I can make money when the market's up, I can make money when the markets are down. So it's one of those things that we looked at, we think could be a lot more advantageous at this time. We will be contacting you to find out where we're going to go on those. So look for a call, probably from myself or Mel. We're not going to try to book them into quote hour-and-a-half calls because it doesn't take that long. It will be more to the fact of maybe a 10 to 15-minute call to assist you on what is the dual directional notes and do we think that's a good idea. If we don't, I might be calling you up to say, and I think it's time to move it back into the models because of the fact that the models have that diversity in it. And we don't have to look at it. We moved to the structured notes when we had to look at the fact that we knew that interest rates were going to drive the fixed income side down. Now we're looking at the fact that interest rates going down can raise the fixed income bucket. So we'll be calling you about things like that. Megan has asked me to do something. She wants me to share what's going on at the office because she always gets the calls around the idea of, Steve, what's going on? You guys say you want to be introduced to friends and family. So let's look at some of the things that are going to happen at or in the office in the next, 45 plus days. March the 13th, Social Security presentation. It's going to be done here in the office in the upstairs suite. I am going to ask everybody, please check in down at the main office, and then they will go ahead and send you up. That's going to start at 6 o'clock. Friday, March the 13th, open house here at the office. We will have food and beverages at that one. It's a presentation that starts around 3 o'clock, goes till 6. Jim Donovan will actually be coming in to talk to us probably around 4:30. Tuesday, March the 26th, and Wednesday, March the 27th. I'll be doing a taxes and retirement presentation at the Twisted Tree in Sunset Hills. We ask that people, if you'd like to come and you're a client, please bring a guest. If you know somebody and you can't make it that night, have them give us a call here at the office and we'd be more than happy to have them come to the presentation. And then on Saturday, April the 20th, after that famous day of April 15th, tax day, all those events, all those quote documents that you've had sitting in your stuff for a very long time, we are going to have a shred event. It will be in the office parking lot, and that'll be from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Again, that is open for everybody. You do not have to be a client to come to the shred event. The other things that we're talking about, the Twisted Tree, please call the office. We need to know who's coming in on that. Social Security presentation, same thing. We have limited seating. We've got a big space upstairs now for that open house. So I am not overly concerned about that. I hope you guys show up in such numbers that I do have a room problem because we don't have that in seats. That'll be people just will be standing around and talking to you, the clients, and then we'll have Jim do a presentation on taxes. So again, I want to say business has been fantastic in 2024. And it's because of people referring friends and family, and that you're the people we want to do business with. I want to do business with people just like you. So if you know somebody that might work, one of those events would be a great, it's dinner presentation, give the office a call. If we have room for it, we'll get you and your guest in there. Please give us a call so that we can have you at those events. We do have some cooking classes come up. I don't have those on the schedule at this point, so we will let you know those things as they come due. And again, I want to thank everybody that's here with us live. I want to thank anybody that's just going to watch this later. If you know somebody this could be advantageous to, please forward the email to them. And we'd love to meet them. We'd love to have them come with you to an event. Everybody have an absolutely wonderful day.